What's your name?
Xana.
Xana, do you live here?
Yes.
We've already talked to Maddie once and told her the same thing.
The house at 1122 Keene Road, where 4 University of Idaho students were murdered, was known as a college party house going back before Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, Dylan, and Bethany all lived there. In the fall of 2022, just a few months before the murders, Moscow police responded to a noise complaint at the house on multiple occasions.
And if I do have to come back here, a $300-some ticket's coming your way.
Okay.
It only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely.
There was even an incident where there are people at the house, but none of the roommates are even there.
How goes it?
Oh, hi. How are you?
Who lives here?
We're not actually sure.
You don't know who lives here?
No, I
We're
don't.
just here for a noise complaint. So everyone here is trespassing?
Well, no one's here that's trespassing, but no one that lives here is here right now.
So where'd they go?
They're just not here. I have no clue where they went. No clue.
So you guys just throwing a party in their house at the
They were
time?
here at one point. They're not here right now. I just searched all the rooms.
They left and went over to some other party, and everyone is about to
I just searched
go
all
over
the
to
rooms.
another party.
Okay. Who does live here? What are their names?
I am actually not sure.
Jeremy Reagan lived near the house on King Road for a few years and saw a lot. Tell me about the house. What do you know about the house?
So when I moved here my first year, that house was not super bad, notorious for like students going in and out partying all the time. My second year, there was a ton of people all the time, in and out constantly. And then my third year, which is the year that all this happened, it was much more similar to the first year I was here. They did have more stuff going on there, but they were definitely nowhere near as loud, as crazy as that second year that I was here.
Does the fact that so many people were in and out of this house factor into the case against Bryan Kohberger?
The fact that this Kings Road house was a party house is a huge big deal because it expands the universe of suspects. Who was there at the time of the murders? What was their connection to the victims? Who had access to this home before? Did they have possible motive to kill? For months, we've been calling this a party house. This is a party venue.
One of the most important parts of this case is that DNA. And what we know is this is a party house. We know that there were hundreds of kids in this house. It could even have included him. And the thing is if he was in this house, are you suggesting that these 4 know everybody who's been there? I doubt that. And as a result, if he says, I was in this house before, that's why my DNA is in this house. Now we talk about that, and we talk about DNA transfer, and all of a sudden, you might have a completely different trial.
It's not just that the defendant's DNA is in the house. It's on a knife sheath, which is found next to Maddie's body. I'm a former prosecutor. This is game over DNA. And it's not just any DNA. It's single source DNA.
Single source DNA profile is the most informative type of profile we can hope to get from a crime scene. It's a lot of clear information, and it's a lot of very specific information. If you're looking for DNA from a perpetrator, that's something that's related to a weapon, and a weapon that could have been used in the commission of this crime, it would be a very rare event for anyone else to match with a single source male DNA profile, so it's very strong evidence.
Bryan Kohberger.
After graduating from DeSales University in the spring of 2022, Bryan Kohberger was accepted into the criminology PhD program at Washington State University. At the time of the Idaho student murders, Kohberger was a teaching assistant. And a few of his students came forward to say they noticed a difference in his behavior after the murders.
No reason to connect him to that, at the time, but definitely around then, he started grading everybody just 100s. He seemed preoccupied is what I would have said at the time.
He would come in, be there for 10 minutes, leave, not say much. So he didn't really do that much, but you could tell there was some off about him.
What's still unclear is the prosecution's theory as to why he would want to kill these young people and what, if any, was the connection.
Motive is not an element of crime or murder. But of course, every inquiring mind wants to know why. Why would Bryan Kohberger do this to 4 innocent victims, college students? Could the state go to trial without motive? Absolutely, but I bet they won't. And the problem here is that we don't even have a connection to these victims. Forget about motive.
Steve Gonsalves, Kaylee's father, believes there's a good chance the murderer was tracking Kaylee and/or her best friend Maddie.
I'd be a little bit surprised if there wasn't a clearer touch point that would suggest that he was interested in one or two of the people more than he was the others.
An Instagram account that was taken down shortly after Kohberger's arrest with the username of Bryan Kohberger was following several members of the Kohberger family. The account also followed Madison Mogen.
I'm Benjamin Mogen. I'm Madison Mogen's father.
I first met Maddie Mogen's father, Ben, at the Mad Greek restaurant a few weeks after the murders. Maddie and Xana both worked there. It's a popular restaurant in downtown Moscow.
Tell me about what a beautiful person she was.
Oh, she was so great. She lit up every room she'd come in, and she was just so positive and fun, and we love her and miss her so much.
The Mad Greek restaurant. It's also one of the first places that comes up if you search for vegan food in Moscow. We know Bryan Kohberger claims to be a vegan because he asked for a vegan meal plan at the jail.
So maybe he did see Maddie and Xana at the Mad Greek and sort of became obsessed with them. But prosecutors made a point in their probable cause affidavit. They went into detail about this Reddit post that the defendant allegedly made, calling out to criminals to provide him with the reason why they chose their victims and committed their crimes. Now, I understand he studies this stuff, but this is still a little strange.
Sounds like he's looking for the reasons why people do the things that they do. Maybe to answer the question for himself. Maybe to explain for him why he's motivated in the way that he is. Are you trying to figure out who you are, or are you trying to figure out who they are? And in this particular case, I think the prosecutors are going to say, yeah, this was about him trying to figure out who he is, because we can tell you who he is. He's this guy.
I am Siobhan Scott. I am a psychotherapist from Portland, Oregon.
So what are your thoughts about this Reddit post?
I see a theme with him for years in his online writings of going back and trying to make sense out of himself. And I think he was in that category of, I'm studying all this because I want to understand myself. And so I think that was driving his research. There's also, in a rather perverse way, perhaps an attempt to develop some sense of camaraderie with other people and to get a sense of maybe I'm really not the only one who has these thoughts and feelings and experiences.
What do his studies tell you about Bryan Kohberger?
It's not that unusual for sadistic killers to study criminology. We think of the BTK killer in Kansas, the Golden State killer in California. Both had criminology degrees, and the California killer did go on to become a law enforcement officers, and there have been quite a few others. So I think there are three reasons people study criminology. The first is because they're altruistic and they really want to make the world a safer place. So they have good motivations. The second reason is because they're absolutely fascinated by the criminal mind, which can be a fine reason, but the dark side of that is they're trying to figure themselves out. And the third reason is because they have a plan to commit crimes, and they're studying police tactics and procedures so that they can become a better criminal. And if Kohberger is the killer, I think those second two reasons would be at play. Whoever did this, be it Kohberger or someone else, is a sexual domination killer. And this is someone that's created a sadistic theatrical production based on fantasies that he's had for many years. Now, the fantasies serve to meet his emotional needs to express rage at women and to have a sense of godlike power, because others' vulnerability makes him feel invincible and their deaths make him feel like a god.
Coming up, the legal battle ahead as prosecutors seek the death penalty.
To have a full defense, he absolutely needs to know that this investigation against him was 100% according to protocol.
Plus, remembering the victims.
Through all this, I hope we can all look through that dark tunnel and see the light and follow that light. And I pray that we have justice someday.
Since his arrest in December 2022, Bryan Kohberger has made a number of court appearances, and his defense team has filed a number of motions challenging everything from the grand jury indictment against him to how the investigators processed the DNA found at the crime scene.
They didn't get a hit for the DNA that was found at the crime scene with the national database. So they moved to a public database, one of those genealogy databases, and they got a hit. And it was for the suspect's father. But now the defense is taking a closer look at that, saying, well, wait a minute. We want to know and we want to see exactly how you tested all of this DNA to get that result.
What's going on in Bryan Kohberger's case that's very concerning is the government does not want to turn over in discovery what all was searched, what databases were searched, and what records were obtained.
When you're talking about a defendant's right to a fair trial and his due process and his Sixth Amendment to have a full defense, he absolutely needs to know that this investigation against him was 100% according to protocol and that there was integrity in this investigation.
The defendant apparently has an alibi. Now, a little strange here. They say, his attorneys, that he likes to go out at night and in the early morning hours and sort of drive around, and that's what he was doing at the time of the murders. Couldn't have done it.
Kohberger's alibi is that he wasn't at the crime scene, but instead he was driving around alone. That statement of his alibi doesn't tell us, obviously, exactly what time he was driving, where he was driving to and from, and why. I mean, we don't have any of those details. He's not saying something that's completely inconsistent with the evidence.
The defense is also claiming that cameras should not be allowed inside the courtroom, claiming Kohberger's every move is being analyzed in a way that's prejudicial. Kaylee's father, Steve Gonsalves, has some thoughts on that.
If you're not a personable person and you give off weird vibes, yeah, you probably don't want nobody to actually see the truth and see who you are and read you for how you behave. You can't hide the truth, man. I'm so tired of the secretive and all that stuff. I want this stuff to be out in the open. I want all the evidence out. I want it to be clear. I want the community to look at that evidence.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will stand beside.
A plea of not guilty was entered for Bryan Kohberger after he chose to stand silent at his arraignment. His trial is expected to begin sometime in 2024.
Kaylee, you will never be forgotten. We will live right for you every day with your mentality in our mind. We love you so much.
She embodied her own sunshine, and that's when her skies became limitless.
I sent you my heart.
I met Charlie D'Amelio, check!
Most important is love. Like it's the only thing you know how. Nothing even matters except love and human connection.
You know, I'm not a big drinker, but maybe I should have something. You're not a big drinker?
I was lucky enough to be able to explore life with Maddie. Maddie was the best at spreading love.
Distance makes the heart know who you love.
Xana was the funniest person I knew and made me laugh every time I spent time with her.
Honestly, it's just 6 hours.
Xana, you will not be forgotten. You have impacted so many lives and have given people so much love.
Oh, sweet love of mine.
Ethan was always someone you could count on to make you smile and cheer up your mood. And I feel so lucky to have shared so many great memories with him.
Minions, tonight we steal the moon. Yes. Sweet love of mine.
Through all this, I hope we can all look through that dark tunnel and see the light and follow that light. And I pray that we have justice someday.